Hey everybody, it's Tyler McVicker here. How are you guys doing today? Today is another episode of Letting Off Steam, the call-in radio show where we answer your questions while talking to people that have done things related to the content that we produce here on Valve News Network. Today we are joined by TG Spy, also known as Thomas, the director of the recently released Fallout New Vegas: The Frontier. Thomas, how are you doing today?
All things considered, not fantastic, but doing alright otherwise.
So we're going to get right into it. As some likely know, and many have yet to find out, one of the artists on the development team of Fallout New Vegas: The Frontier has been outed as a pedophile through some animated work that was published on that individual's DeviantArt profile that was connected to their name.
Yes.
So, first and foremost, who was this person?
So, Zoo the Skunk was a developer that we brought in years ago after seeing the work that he'd done on Five Nights at Vault 5 and a few other community mods that he'd put out on the Nexus. And we were really impressed with the work that he'd done in terms of iconography and graphic design. So we brought him in about 2 or 3 years ago just to work on our icons. And since then, he's done sort of all of our icons. But he's not been a super public person. He's mostly stayed to the team chats, not really communicated too much outside of sort of your general chats. And so this news came as both a gigantic slap in the face and a really disgusting slap in the face more than anything. So we've already removed him from the site, banned him from the Discord server, and removed all of his self-inserts from the mod. But there's not much else to say on it, to be honest. We had no clue this was happening. We had no clue this is what he'd done. And that's the truth.
So, just to put the record straight, personally, Tom, do you condemn the actions that this individual had put forward, and more importantly, do you condemn the act of pedophilia?
Yeah, like, it shouldn't even be up for debate whether it's just, like, sick to the stomach. And the fact that this is what I woke up to is just, it's awful. It's reprehensible is probably the best word.
And
It's
your
disgusting.
current statement is that you had no idea that this was happening, that this was something that this individual was doing while on the mod team?
No, we had no idea.
And when you say we, who specifically are you referring to?
Me and the rest of the development team.
Okay, so you can confidently speak for the rest of the development team. This was not something that was known.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can confidently speak for the entire team that no one knew.
Okay. So obviously the major question that you then are going to be facing following that is, this individual's work, can it easily be removed from the mod and move on from that worker?
The individual's work is not easily removed because he did all of our icons, did a lot of the armor work, and so replacing that would be another year's worth of work. So at the current status, we're not sure if we will remove his work. We've removed all of his self-inserts and all of the pieces of content that he added about himself. But at the current stage, we are not removing his content that he's done, such as icons and armors, outright.
What exactly do you mean by self-inserts?
He had a skunk plushie that he added in an obscure interior, the quest reward.
A skunk plushie.
Yes.
Why? What is that? What does that mean?
It was literally just like a little skunk plushie avatar. And it gave you luck.
It gave you +1 luck.
Yeah.
Okay. Did all the teammates have self-inserts?
No.
Okay.
In fact, no one else did.
So this skunk guy was the only person to have a self-insert?
Yes. We have development characters in the development room, of course, but he was the only one to have a self-insert outside of the cordoned-off development room.
Okay. So obviously this is hugely problematic for not only the mod, but for the developers that are associated with the mod. Personally, it does upset me quite severely when it comes to content of this nature, individuals who indulge themselves in content of this nature. So it does really fucking suck that this is something that is now associated with this project. And that's coming from me, a person whom didn't even really know of this project's existence a little over 1 month ago. This game, almost immediately upon release, seemed to have been wrapped up in some form of controversy, whether that be related to possible inserts of foot fetish references. There was a sex scene with a death claw. There was the sex slave stuff with, I think, America as the Crusaders of Steel companion. And now the public has discovered the gross misuse of a pedophile's work within the mod. Enough work that unfortunately it would seem as if it would take a long time in order to be able to remove that work. First question for you, where is your mind right now? How are you processing through this? What do you have to say for the people that waited a while to be able to play this game and have now been met with all of these different controversies flying at them at once?
I would like to think that the work that we've put in for everything that we've done should speak for itself, even if we have a silent group of people who have very happily supported us. We've gotten a lot of really positive support for the mod, even outside the controversies. That's where a lot of my sort of support's been coming from. It's just people, seeing people having enjoyed the mod and seeing what we've made as something good is really helpful to the development team's sort of mental state. But it's been pretty rough. It really has. It's not been a great launch at all. That's just the reality.
So,
but
again, we do need to discuss further the implications of the mod's longevity following the discovery of what is the person's name? I've just skunk. It's Zoo the Skunk.
Zoo the Skunk. Yeah.
ZU the Skunk was this person's username. So this person did all of the Pip-Boy, like Vault Boy icons for the unique items in the game.
Yes, all of them.
If off the top of your head, how many of those are there in the game, uniquely made?
There is over about 900.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
And that includes weapons, armor, like traits, perks, all that kind of stuff.
Everything.
And so this was the only person that was making Pip-Boy icons. This was the only person.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were to remove this person's work, how easily could it be replaced with vanilla icons, at least for placeholders for the time being?
I'm not sure. I can be honest. I'm not sure.
So I'm paying very close attention to the chat here, and I've been following the response that this mod has seen. I actually was quite vocal in defense of the mod on Twitter yesterday when people's main complaint about the mod had to do with the foot fetish stuff and the Deathclaw sex scene. Obviously, I can't get behind a defense when it comes to any kind of pedophilic stuff. Something that I am seeing discussed quite a bit, and again, you know, I can't really take everything that is being said in the community at face value due to just kind of the, I'm going to say, hyper nature of everybody's response in the immediate aftermath of this announcement that I think was made by Phobos on the Discord server about an hour and a half ago. However, I will say that one of the things that people continually push forward to the mod is the idea that there was pedophilic content already existing within the mod's quest lines. Is that true?
No.
Why are people saying that?
People have developed this strange notion that the content that we've produced and the characters that are involved in these quest lines are underage, except having gone through the entire mod, believe the only sort of content that I've been seen brought up is America, and she is not underage. And the only other character that I could speak of that is, I believe, 17, isn't involved in anything at all.
Now, why would you make a character 17 to begin with? Why not make them 19 or 20? Because
the idea was never to think about their age. It was the content wasn't based around them being a specific age. It was just based around them being teenagers in the town, going around doing just random odds and ends.
Okay. And this America character, she's 18. I'm seeing people in the chat say that she's quote unquote recently 18. What does that mean?
We added a note expressing that America had turned 18 because we wanted to alleviate some of the potential concern that she was underage. However, it's seemingly backfired quite horrendously, if I might say, and sort of made it sound like she's not 18, but she is. And we only added that note because we were worried that people would get the wrong idea. And clearly that's certainly been taken the wrong way.
Okay. Yeah, so... yeah, another thing that's being brought up quite a bit is that the idea of her being 18 was actually added much later in development after America as a character was already created. Was she inceptualized, like, was she conceived as a character as an underage person?
She was conceived as a character that didn't really have a specific age. When we were writing her, we weren't thinking of her as some specific age. For most of the development time, she was sort of slated as just a teenager of some older age. And we only wrote the notes later in development to sort of alleviate some of our concerns that she'd be taken as underage, but it was never written as an underage character.
Okay. All right. So we're going to take one of the questions that have been sent in through email. I'm seeing we have a donation here from TK's Mantis asking a great question. Why would he be worried if there was nothing to worry about? I'm not sure what the context of that question is supposed to be hinting towards. I can repeat the question for you again if you need.
I think I get what he means.
I'm going to read that one more time. Why would he be worried if there was nothing to be worried about? I will say, kind of a poorly worded question, as I'm having a hard time following it, but if you could try and fill me in on that, that'd be great.
I think he's asking why did we worry to add a note at all if it was going to be a concern at all. And I couldn't answer for you personally. I think that's a question that Odin would have to answer. He wrote the character.
Who is Odin?
He's the other writer on the team, one of 3 major writers.
So there are 3 major writers on the team. Could you walk me through the 3, please?
Yes. So you've got Devil's Wish, who wrote the NCR main quest. You've got Nazo, who wrote the Legion main quest and most of the side content. And you've got Odin, who wrote the Crusaders and a lot of the other side quest content.
And this content that is being perceived as problematic was written by Odin.
Yes.
So Odin wrote America. Did Odin write the foot fetish stuff?
Yeah, he wrote all the companion dialogue for America.
Okay, could you talk a bit about this foot fetish stuff that I keep seeing so much about? Can you give some context to it, please?
Yeah. So people have taken a singular line in which America complains about her smelly boots at the end of a day and smelly feet at the end of the day, and somehow construed that into us being foot fetishes, which is...
Okay, so I have the line here I'll read.
Yeah.
Quote, "I'm dreading taking off my boots tonight after the running around we've been doing. Phew, my feet will probably put rotting fish to shame." So this is the line that people seem to have issue with.
Yeah.
Okay. And that has to do with... So, okay. I may just be a bit of a virgin ears here. I'm not that well versed in feet fetishistic behavior and tendencies, but how exactly can this be taken that way?
I don't know. Maybe by the mere mention of feet. But it was never written as any sort of fetishistic line.
Are you positive about that?
Yes. Yeah, I am positive. It's such an off the cuff, just sort of random comment anyway, that it was never written as such a line.
Okay. Do you think I could get Odin on the record saying something like that? Is Odin online?
I don't think he's online at the moment. Most of the development team is sort of...
Yeah, as you would expect, given the current
at the moment.
circumstances.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, we have another donation here from DC Guy 3. Little bit of advice. Mantis has a vendetta against the Frontier since he couldn't be in it due to scheduling. Seems he's seeing this as an opportunity to harass more. Now, that's quite a large allegation you are making against this Mantis person. I am not entirely filled in on who Mantis is.
Yes, I can speak of this. So
oh, please do.
We've been trying to keep sort of quiet about it because we didn't really want to, spark outrage.
Sure.
But Tico's Mantis was casted as a minor character with less than 40 lines about probably a year ago at this point, and after a significant string of not submitting lines on time, not submitting lines at all, and then not accepting direction from our voice actor, we decided to recast him to a voice actor who was more appropriate, because we thought his delivery of the lines and his general inability to get lines in on time was just not worth the effort for such a small character. And in recasting, he decided to post an egregious and long-winded rant video in which he made it out like he was removed from the voice cast because he had COVID, regardless of the fact that we have close to 6 months of chat logs from him where he does not submit the lines that we wanted. Considering it was such a small character, we didn't feel it necessary to continue trying to sort of get around his inability to actually get lines in on time, so we recasted him, and he made that rant video, and he complained about the lizard people because he found them on one of the public casting calls, and he's been digging that into the mod's reputation ever since, because he has now a personal vendetta against the mod.
So you do assert that this Mantis individual has a vendetta against the Frontier as a project?
Yes. His video was 20 minutes long, and he spent all 20 minutes ranting and raving about how, A, he wasn't cast, and his own community was going against him, saying, your lines sound kind of monotone and boring. And that was the truth. He tried to stipulate that we recast him because he was going under COVID. However, we recast him because he wasn't putting out the stuff that we wanted to. It was a very simple character, and he refused to actually submit lines on time. And as such, he's been going on this war against us, making multiple comments, multiple Twitter posts, multiple videos, and causing just a general ruckus for the sake of his own publicity and his own notoriety.
Okay, so let's move on from this Mantis individual then. We have another question here from Matthew. I apologize for likely butchering your last name. Sidorovich. Quote, so you have not added the option to join the Enclave because it's a power trip, fantasies, etc. Yet the Legion exists and has a story. 1000 IQ. So I've actually been seeing quite a bit about how the Enclave doesn't have representation within the mod. Could you speak a bit to this fairly significant outcry about speaking specific? I keep saying specifically a lot. The Enclave, if you could please.
Yes. So the reality is we didn't make the Enclave questline because we didn't really have a big enough team to take on a fourth questline. Nazo, Odin, and Devils already were working on their own questlines, and to add a fourth questline for the Enclave would have been a significant chunk of work that we didn't really have the people or the resources for. And the Enclave that we have present in the Frontier isn't exactly the most friendly, joinable faction to begin with. And I think a lot of the outcry for the Enclave has come from a perhaps poorly timed joke that we made on one of our first live streams, calling the Enclave a one-dimensional fascist faction and a fascist power fantasy. People have sort of taken that joke and assumed that was the reason that we haven't added the Enclave questline. It's not. The reason we didn't add an Enclave questline is because we just didn't have the time, resources, or the motivation to make one.
So there was a joke made about the Enclave being a fascist dictatorship power fantasy. That is legitimate. That did happen.
Yeah, that happened on the first stream that we did.
When was this stream?
This was on the first day of release.
Oh, okay. Now, you state that this joke was poorly timed. Why do you say that?
It was poorly timed, poorly thought out, because we were already talking about making comparisons between Trump's Enclave supporters. And so that added a bit of unnecessary fuel to the fire that we really shouldn't have done. And we do regret making those jokes because they have unfortunately done a pretty significant
well,
damage.
It is your project,
Yeah.
Regardless of if a call was made and if that call should have been made or not, this is still the team's project. So if there is a message that the team wants to push forward, they have every right to do so. Same, flip side of that coin is people are able to take that and interpret that in any way they want. And it seems as if a lot of people did not appreciate that joke. I am not entirely familiar with just how the Fallout audience, the greater Fallout audience, falls on the political compass. However, it seems as if at least the people who have taken offense to that joke may fall more on the right side of at least the American political spectrum. Now, again, I would rather see legitimate conversation on this other than I'm seeing just like a bunch of all caps Enclave over and over again. It's kind of difficult to be able to properly understand where you're coming from with this when it's all just God bless the Enclave over and over again. Now, the Enclave has existed since, was it Fallout 1 even, right?
Yeah.
Was the depiction of the Enclave in the Frontier inspired by any previous depiction of the Enclave in previous games?
That's a good question, because I'm not 100% sure, because we didn't have a lot of discussions with Devil's Wish over what the Enclave would be, because he sort of worked...
I'm sorry, who is Devil's Wish? Who is Devil's
the
Wish?
creator of the NCR main quest, and he's the one who first brought the Enclave into the mod.
Can we speak to Devil's Wish?
No, he's sort of removed himself from the development team a while ago due to stress.
Oh, Fallout 2. Fallout 2. The Enclave is from Fallout 2. Okay. Now, I know the Enclave the most from Fallout 3, and the Enclave in Fallout 3 seem to have been poorly written due to how everyone seems to, view the Enclave in a specific way. Now, in I must just be way too stupid for this, but the undertones of different political ideologies that exist within different factions within the Fallout franchise definitely fly over my own head. So I would like to know your opinion. The main factions within the Frontier specifically, the NCR, the Crusaders, the Legion, the Enclave. Is there anyone else that I'm missing?
Legion, NCR, Crusaders, Scavs. Those are the main sort of 4 factions, or
Okay.
4 or 5 factions rather.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, like, where would you place these different factions on the political compass in the greater Fallout universe then?
I don't know if that's a question that I could comfortably answer because I am not 100%. I'm not one of those people who's super sort of set down on the lore. So, like, I could probably comfortably place the Crusaders just knowing the content outright.
Well, the Crusaders are Mormon, aren't they?
Yeah, so sort of somewhat left of the spectrum, if you can call that. The NCR and the Legion, I wouldn't know where to start placing them, to be honest, because I'm not American, so I don't follow that side of American politics so
Sure.
adversely. So the left and right debate is a little it's a little weird to me.
So, I would like to interrupt here. We have another $5 donation from TK Mantis. Quote, chat is calling for me to join this Discord call, and I am down. I'm not the toxic guy TG Spy says I am, lol.
He kind of is the exact person that he is. Yeah.
What is your opinion of that if we were to bring this TK Mantis individual into this call?
I would not appreciate that.
No? Okay.
No.
Quote from someone named Shrek is Love. Quote, daily reminder that Arcade Gannon calls the Enclave a fascist paramilitary organization. Yes, I will say from my own time in Fallout 1, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3, Fallout 76, Fallout 4, that a lot of the things that the Frontier, a lot of the things people seem to have against the Frontiers, mainly the sexual overtones and the blatant sexual activity that exists within it, has always kind of existed in the Fallout franchise. I've seen people complain that the comparison of the act of sexuality versus the insert of one's own fetishistic tendencies do not equate. However, I would disagree. There is if you have the Lady Killer perk in Fallout New Vegas, you can actually give Benny a foot job. And then, of course, there's like Robo Fisty and the cowboy ghoul and that whole quest line with the bartender in Freeside where you hire a bunch of specialty prostitutes. And then there's that one line that, it's burned into my head as much as, patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for nuclear winter. That one woman that stands outside of one of the gates in Freeside where it's like, what? It's hungry, thirsty, horny, and then something, something, something. I don't know. I don't completely understand the outcry of specific sexuality that exists within the game. And I would like to know the community's reasoning for why the Frontier's foot fetish stuff, if indeed that stuff is actually a foot fetish insert, which the development team is very confident in stressing that it is not, at least not on purpose. So I would like to know that the community's general opinion on all that, because, like in Fallout 2, you can become the best porn star in the entire wasteland, and that's one of my favorite quests in that game. This one says, you worked with Zoo for 7 years. How did you not find this out? Come on now.
People are massively misconstruing how many years we worked with Zoo. In fact, we worked with Zoo for less than 3.
Okay.
Yeah. The only people that I've actually, I joined the team back in 2015, so I wasn't technically present for the full 7 years. But regardless, Zoo was only on the team for a few years. And as I said, he was not exactly the most open people, and we're not doing background checks on people. We don't have,
Sure.
That's not something we do.
Well, this is, look, in an attempt to be... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up with the chat here. It's quite something to see. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Just lost my train of thought. Hold on. Oh, yeah, in an attempt to remain as neutral on this topic as possible in order to get the most honest answers out of Thomas here, I'm going to try and not inject my own personal opinions as much as I can. I know I've already done that, and I know I will continue to do that, but just, while trying to remain as neutral as possible, I've had my hand at attempting to direct community teams, and it's very publicly known that I've failed almost every time. There's quite the famous example of when a team that I had attempted to put together in order to remake the canceled Valve Portal sequel called F-Stop, one of the developers on that project was quite problematic, and we didn't really learn just to what extent the problematic behavior went until like 2 years into working with that. So I will leverage that when you're working on a volunteer-based community project, it is actually quite difficult to understand the entire background history of an individual that you work with. Now, that doesn't change the fact that what you're dealing with here is significantly worse than what I was dealing with. I was just dealing with a racist, and you're dealing with a pedophile. That's way worse.
Oh, it is.
That said, you have leveraged confidently that you had no idea that this was something that had happened. I will say that directing a community team is nearly impossible. It's all volunteer based, and you really can't try and control somebody on how they say without just straight up removing them from the team. This isn't a AAA project. There's no money being made here, so it's very, very different. Anyways, with that said, there are significant calls to bring this Mantis person into this interview here. I am going to make an executive decision. Thomas has already expressed his disinterest, in doing that. It is the floor is open if Mantis would like to speak to me after the fact. But for the time being, Thomas has pushed forward the his disinterest or his disapproval of bringing Mantis onto this call. So I appreciate.
If I may interject, the only reason that Mantis wants to come on is because he wants to manipulate his way into getting a little bit more notoriety.
Okay. Well,
we have pretty significant chat logs of everything that Mantis has done and has spoken about.
All right, I'm gonna have to stop you there. We are going to have to move on from this individual here so we can talk about the game as a whole. Mantis, feel free to add me on Discord, and we can go from there. But for the time being, we will not be bringing this person onto the call. Here's another question from Jazzu. Quote, talk about the Deathclaw sex. No vanilla Fallout game has come close to that, or the feet, or the 17-year-old crap, end quote. Thomas, you have the floor.
Yeah. So the Deathclaw sex scene was written as an overtly ridiculous Wild Wasteland. And for anyone that's actually gone and seen it, you had like 13 different dialogue options, and they were all completely and utterly ridiculous. just to sort of, it was funny. We thought it was hilarious, but it wasn't properly set up as a wild wasteland because the person who was working on it never properly finished it. So we've disabled it in one of the recent hot fixes because it wasn't finished. So there was no point leaving it in.
Okay. Was this always a wild wasteland thing?
Yeah. It was always written as a wild wasteland. When we explicitly discussed it,
what exactly was this scene, and why was it added into the game to begin with? It was always just something that you found funny.
It was always something that we as a team just thought was hilarious.
Okay. How overt or explicit was this scene?
If people are thinking that you literally fuck the Deathclaw, no. It was set up to just be a fade to black. You wake up, Deathclaw gone.
Okay. From Fallout London. Is this another Fallout project? Let me see.
Yes.
Fallout London, DLC-sized Fallout 4 mod. Okay. Quote, throughout production, the lead is aware of the content. At what point did you think some of that was acceptable? Were you unaware or did you deem it okay?
A lot of the content that people are... sorry, I'm just reading through some of the other comments that are...
But try not to... I'm focusing on the comments, yeah.
Yeah. We were aware of the content that existed. However, we... Sorry, I'm not sure of a good way to answer that. Because, we are aware of the content. But we didn't believe it was... We didn't believe it was as bad as people are making it out to be, which is why we didn't explicitly remove it.
So what you're saying here is that the team's perception on the content is far more relaxed than the vocal community's response to that content, the vocal community's perception or interpretation of that content.
Yeah.
Okay. We have another question here from, Simon Simons. Quote, there's a companion with a perk about mating with her dog. Is that true?
No.
There's a companion with a perk about mating with her dog. That is not true. Where are they getting that from?
No, that's... Wrench's perk description suggests that she really loves her dog. I can read the description. Hold on.
Please do.
Yeah, Bolt loves his owner so much that he'll never ever leave her side. You can't have Wrench in your party without Bolt tagging along. I believe that was an edited one as well.
What do you mean an edited one?
Because we recently changed it because people were assuming that it was some awful thing. So we changed the wording of it slightly, but I've got the original. Bolt loves Wrench a lot, maybe a bit too much. Wrench will always be joined by a faithful companion, Bolt, no matter what.
Okay.
Personally, I don't see how that could be misconstrued.
Simon Simons, the chat is just going insane. Simon Simons' question here was lost. Okay, quote, why is the dev team removing all downloads for the mods? I get that there was one scumbag in the team, but you for the most part seemed chill. That is from Dat Boy Dipski.
I was actually asleep when we started removing downloads for the mod. I believe the idea is we've got some work to do.
Of course.
We've got some work to do to remove a bit of stuff. We've had a few people that want to pull their content out. So understandably, we have to do so.
Sure. Yeah. By the way, I don't know if TK Mantis is still here. I have gotten a few Discord friend requests. I'm not sure which one is you, so I will not be accepting or declining any of these requests until I am aware of who is adding me. Another question from Zion White. What about the allegations that multiple people had posted Zoo's quote-unquote material in the Discord over the course of his time working on the Frontier, and the mods removed those posts over and over? Is that true?
No, that's not true. Our mod team over the years has been extremely small, and for a lot of the development, it was actually made up of devs just spending their time, sort of helping with the moderation, because it just wasn't a big deal back then in terms of sort of server size. We had a very small sort of server at the time, so it wasn't a big deal. But no, at no point have we removed any of Zoo's allegations or anything related to that. And in fact, if we had been informed about that years ago, he never would have been on the team to begin with, or we would have removed him outright years ago.
Okay. I think I'm caught up on the comments here. I'm going to go to the emails. We're going to start on the first email I got and go in chronological order. This one was sent by Plushman. What does the Frontier team think of the negative comments they have got since the mod was released, specifically talking about the content in the mod?
Well, there's always room for critique and criticism, of course. But a lot of the comments we've been getting are pretty rough, pretty nasty.
Now, I will say that throughout this entire interview, almost everything that you have said, Tom, has been met with all caps liar over and over and over and over again. Now, that's quite a tall accusation to make against someone who has publicly come out and attempted to give an honest interview. At least I assume it's an honest interview. However, if you have any evidence to the contrary, please, my email is open and we can go from there. We have another question. Gray Mans. You have it really rough, man. Your community is really volatile and at odds with you politically, it seems. Oh, well, okay, this isn't related. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. This one is from Larry. What is the story? Why is there sex slaves and bad dialogue? Is this a COD clone? Why is there a condom texture?
So sort of go through the list. There was no sex slave stuff. That was a massive misconstrual of...
What are they misunderstanding?
Yeah. So that was specifically in relation to America's dialogue lines. But she was not written to be a sex slave, because Jesus Christ, that's egregious. She was written as a slave, and I mean, shit, if you try and slave her within the start of the mods, you literally are kicked out of the faction immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question was, is this a COD clone?
The start of the mod could definitely be considered a COD clone. It's definitely a bit of a COD clone.
Okay. Why is there a condom texture?
That was a... I don't know. It's one of those things you don't think about after having seen it for so many years, but it was always just one of those, that's kind of funny, I guess. And you only see it at the NCR truck at the start of the mod.
Oh, the truck that you ride into the Frontier. Yeah. Okay. So there's a condom on the truck.
Yeah, under one of the duffel bags.
I don't understand. Why is that problematic?
I don't know.
Okay. Moving on. Do you, the Frontier Director, have any idea what post-launch support for the Frontier and or what is next for the team?
I don't think there's going to be anything next for the team. I really don't. I don't want to work in this community. I don't want to work on these games anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Post-launch stuff. We've already put out post-launch stuff. We've put out a lot of
I would request that you stop looking at
yes.
any of these comments. I'm hearing you.
Yeah, no. We put out a lot of hot fixes and fixes to a lot of the crashes, which is what we're trying to keep up with.
Okay.
But beyond that, I don't see us doing a whole lot more. A lot of us are burnt out, and we were going to be working on an alternative start where you can travel to the frontier in a caravan. You'd be dropped outside of a location, and you could go make your way to the faction bases from there. But that's on hold right now.
Obviously. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Did the dev zoo have anything to do with the NPC America?
No.
Okay.
No. Zoo did no writing for America, and he didn't do any writing for the Crusaders main quest.
Okay. Simon Simons has approached this again with another thing. Quote, please read this. He is lying to you. The dialogue with America has you call her your, again, quote, little slave girl, and she says she'll do anything for you, and cries.
Yes. So that was one of the lines that we have made changes to. The player prompt only. The line itself was fine, but we've made changes to the line, and we got some feedback from it, and we think the changes we've made will make that a little less cringy, a little less sexual.
Okay. Patrick O. I heard Todd Howard is going to censure this mod publicly. Thoughts? Patrick, come on. We're not gonna... No. Can we take like 5 seconds to acknowledge... This is a question. Quote, can we take like 5 seconds to acknowledge how good the Frontier is? I feel like we're trashing on free content due to the high standards, and it's a shame. Well, in my 70-plus hours with the game, I was focused on the NCR main quest and spent a lot of that time inventory managing, as I do. That is how I play the game. And I will put forth that the world space, the drivable mechanics, and some of the quest lines and locations are quite good, especially considering it's a volunteer-based community mod. Now, that said, some of the things that the community has brought up does need to be responded to, and that's why I am attempting to give Tom here a platform to be able to properly respond to some of these criticisms. Now, this show that we're doing right now was actually planned before the pedophilic allegations against, excuse me, I think it's Zoo the Skunk?
Yeah.
Zoo the Skunk had come to light, and unfortunately, once you bring legitimate sex crimes against children into the mix, that's when you have to get serious and kind of hold the people accountable and make sure that the proper things are done. But I appreciate the comment, and I do agree that there are sections of this game that are quite good. Okay. From Hey, it's Pixis. This person seems to be from New Zealand. Quote, it's rather disappointing seeing how the community has reacted from this. It somehow has topped the toxicity of the source community. Good job. No comment. We're moving on. AB, quote, while there's a lot of writing / world building mistakes, I enjoyed my time with this mod. Will you stop making mods because of a few assholes? Tom, you have the floor.
Yes. Sorry, I should reiterate that it's not because of... It's not because of the feedback and the critique and the criticism that we've got. The reason that I won't be doing it anymore is because I've been doing this for so long that I want to move on to something else in my life. I've had enough.
Okay, I'm gonna have to interrupt you here. People are now repeating stalker assets over and over and over and
Yes.
over again. Can you explain, please?
Stalker assets are freely available to use in whatever content you want. They have an open use license, which is why we use them for building assets. And we've done significant modifications to the Stalker assets as well.
I am aware of the Stalker assets being freely available to be used. That is also that is true. Okay, another question here. Quote: were you worried about people overhyping it too much, like some did? Also thought the mod was quite impressive technically.
We were worried about it, which is why I sort of made every opportunity to just sort of say, hey, keep your expectations as sort of minimal as possible. We think we've done a really good job, but we don't want to overhype it. No, we're not a triple A studio.
I apologize. I was muted. I was muted there. Yep, I was muted. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Whoops. I'm gonna have to go back. So I had received a question about Valve that I have to skip for right now. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to mute myself so that I don't make noise while Tom is attempting to speak. We have a question here from Hugh. Was wondering if I could ask more info about the Zoo the Skunk situation. More specifically, what was the team's vetting process for developers? Again, sorry about that. Tom, you have the floor.
So the vetting process is not exactly any sort of stringent thing, because at the end of the day, we're not a AAA studio with a human resources, a legal department. We were just a bunch of community developers. We sort of reach out to people and be like, hey, like, your mods look good. And, unless they're like straight up involved in horrible things amongst the community, then we invite them on. It's really as simple as that. There's no going through people's backgrounds and, finding out what they've got in their closet.
Okay. During the development, you guys decided that slavery and emotional abuse was fine, but Enclave is bad. That is from Howard.
Yeah, so we didn't explicitly say that the Enclave, that either of those things are connected. We didn't make the Enclave questline because A, we didn't have the resources, and B, we didn't have anyone who could devote the time to actively working on it. It was, as I've already repeated multiple times.
Is that your answer? Is that the full answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Will the stream be available as a VOD afterwards? Yes, not immediately afterwards, but yes. I need to, get a good title and description and everything written up after this is over. Quote, when will the Steam version release? Also, will it be just as moddable as the New Vegas version? Thanks. Keep up the good work. That's from James.
So the Steam version will be released, I hope, sometime soon. We're still waiting on some work to be done on the installer and the launcher. It will be just as moddable as just your standard Nexus version, with the notable exception of it being a a different install. So if you want to install mods, you should probably install them manually.
Yes, and if you do install the mod, or any New Vegas mod, I recommend the Just compilation mods for quick loot and a sprint button. Really good quality of life mod that I recommend on my end. We have another question here from Robert Bates. I feel like there are far too many things that are being misinterpreted. The feet, the slave girl stuff, the lizard people, Deathclaw, sex scene, etc. It seems too convenient that all of those are misinterpreted. Tom, your response?
I don't even know how to respond to that kind of comment. I really don't. I just, misinterpretation or not, that was the content that we made.
I will interject, though, that you're listing 1, 2, 3, 4 things from like a 150-hour game. That's a lot of stuff. The game is full of this kind of stuff. And I'm sure that I'm sure you could find more stuff that we could, be upset about down the road. I feel as if Tom is trying to assert the fact that, I guess that's what he's saying. It wasn't the team's intention to make something purposefully deviant. How would you put that into words?
No, the idea was never to make anything purposely awful or horrible. The options for America, for example, were always written simply as evil role-playing choices. That's just how they were written.
Yeah, I would like to ask you a question. What, in your opinion, are the most evil role-playing choices that exist in New Vegas?
That's a difficult question for me to answer, not because I'm trying to avoid the question, but because I haven't played New Vegas in years.
Oh, fair. Okay.
Yeah, because I've been so busy on the mod, I haven't really had a proper chance to...
How long have you been working on this mod?
Since early 2016.
That was a long time ago. Okay. I feel bad. Too many people can't handle real-life issues and need to grow up and stop playing mature games. Okay. Todd Howard sends $5 saying, Neil. Hi, Todd. I'll talk to you later. Sherpa. Whose idea was it to let you copulate with a Deathclaw and a lizard girl, but not a vertibird? Is that just a bridge too far? To be honest, I'm completely for having sex with a vertibird. I mean, that'd be cool. I would be more interested in a sex scene with a vertibird than a Deathclaw. Deathclaws suck. Vertibirds fly. That's cool.
That's a fair way of putting it.
All right, next question. Tyler, thank you. Yeah, no problem. I understand this game has been a passion project for you guys, and I don't want to be insulting, but I do want to ask, will you guys address people's issues with the mod now that you are pulling the mod? Will you be rewriting any portions of the main quest, or at least recutting the storyline of the NCR Legion and Crusaders for a quote-unquote better experience? Will you give the Crusaders and Legion quest lines more time in the oven as a result? And will you lessen or remove the more quote-unquote sexual content? Tom, you have the floor.
We've already made changes to a lot of the lines that people have had issues with regards to America's dialogue. That was one of the first things we did, alongside karma gating. A lot of America's evil role-playing choices, as they should have been. No, the reality is the development team's kind of split at the moment because we're all in a pretty dark place, and we don't really want to work on this mod anymore. We've put too much time and effort into it, and now that we've sort of gone down a pretty deep hole, we don't really see a reason to continue working on it. We've pulled the mod for the time being, as there are changes we need to make to people's content regarding removing it entirely, because people have requested that their content be removed in response to the
People have requested that their content be removed. Who has requested that?
I won't say who, but a voice actor or two has requested that they be removed. An artist has requested that they have their content removed. That's just what it is.
That's a normal response to what's going on. Sure. From Burger Boo, what about the straight-up ripoff, almost word for word, of the Wolfenstein New Order plot thread in the Enclave space station? I guess I should have said spoilers for the Frontier before we started this, but I mean, I guess we've all played it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a ripoff. But as we sort of tried to mention before, Devil's Wish was someone who liked to make stuff on his own time and liked to make stuff without sort of outside oversight. So he was the one that
again, for those that are unaware, who was Devil's Wish?
He was the creator of the NCR main quest.
All right, we have another message here from Todd Howard. Todd Howard denounces this trash fanfiction, and if you buy another copy of Skyrim, I may forgive you. Todd, you know I've bought, like, way too many of them. Oh, wow. I'm not going to read this comment because of the name. Yeah, this is a tough one. You tell me. I'm going to copy the name, and you tell me if I should read that name out loud.
I don't think you should.
No. Okay. Sorry. Moving on. From Miri. Quote, you've gotten a lot farther than you should have, but then you haven't met Frank Horgan either. Your ride's over. What is this? Moving on. If you never continue the Frontier or modding ever, I and many understand. You guys did good work, and I'm sorry you have to go through all of this. This is just a part of being in the public eye, and how you deal with it is how you move on from it. I should know. I have been an asshole many, many times in public, and hey, I'm still standing. From Roble. Quote, why did the team decide to take on the game in a military-esque shooter direction for the large bulk of it? I will say that it's the large bulk of the NCR. Side quests, the Crusaders, and the Legion are very much not that, and I think that TG Spy here is just going to, again, refer back to Devil's Wish. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, moving on. Thank you for the question. Alright. Who is Sneed? Yeah, I keep seeing that. Who is Sneed?
I think it's a joke from The Simpsons.
When will a Sneed's feed and Sneed and wait and Seed formerly Chuck? Okay, I think these are all just yeah. Read my comments or I'm doing a charge back. Fine. Let's read your friggin' comment. Give me a second. Oh. Give me a second. Sorry. Just technical difficulties on this end. Just trying to get back to the dashboard. Alright, there we are. So, the question that you wanted to ask was... in your own words, why didn't you include an Enclave as a faction when they were a fascist power fantasy? Now you're blaming it on a lack of resources. If it was a resource issue, why bring in real-life politics? Go ahead.
We brought in real-life politics as a very, very stupid joke on the first live stream. If we were actively going to make that the reason that we didn't add in the Enclave questline, we wouldn't have mentioned it at all. We've been saying for years, and years, there won't be any Enclave questline. This isn't something new.
Okay.
We've had it in our frequently asked questions for ages as well.
Nice dodging a legit $20 question. Understand that it's not the existence of certain things that's the problem, it's how poorly they're executed. Okay, well, I read the question. Moving on. Your mod is Hunt Down the Freeman too. You stole assets, ripped off better games, and put some really immature, tasteless, and X-rated things. Shame. Okay, it's not a question. Why did you think that so many people can't grasp that Fallout has always been a commentary on politics. I agree with that one. Fallout's always been a political game, but go ahead.
I don't know what to say to that. I feel like anything I would say would get me more blowback, so I'm not going to comment on the politics.
Okay. Okay, I've been following the Discord for the past week or so following the launch. As a Portland resident, I myself has a question. What research went into making the city in the world of Frontier? Josh Sawyer traveled to the Mojave on a bicycle and confirmed rumors stating that Bethesda visited Boston prior to releasing Fallout 4. Emil Pagliarulo, the lead writer of Fallout 4, is from Boston and his childhood home is in the game. Is there some sort of personal connection to the team when it comes to Portland? Did anyone on the team visit Portland in the process of making the mod?
We didn't actually. A lot of the research that was done was just basic online research. We didn't really have the resources, or anyone living in Portland for that matter, to go and do research on that kind of stuff.
Can you explain the leaked Discord messages of developers raging and insulting the Fallout community and Enclave fans? That doesn't sound like a joke. And again, Tom, I'm trying to remain as impartial as possible, so I will be reading every comment that goes through, okay?
Yeah.
So, do you have anything to say to that one?
I don't particularly, mostly because I don't actually know what they're referring to. There have definitely been some instances.
Feel free to email them. We're going to move on. We don't have forever.
Yeah.
All right. From Luke. Love you guys. I'm heartbroken of what's happened. I hope you are all okay. And look at the positives you've accomplished from making the mods. And not dwell too long on the negatives. Again, love you guys and love the mod. Moving on. From Ladle. The Deathcloth thing. You made a cringe moment while it took me 20 minutes to make a side quest about involving a vault that is lore-friendly. Sigh. What? Do you know what this person's talking about? It took me 20 minutes to make a side quest about it involving a vault that is lore-friendly.
I have no idea.
Okay. Why didn't... I'm not reading that. I hope you guys didn't get over this... I hope you guys get over this hill. I personally thought this mod was amazing. What is your favorite part of working on this mod? That is from Sky Arrow.
Favorite part of the mod? I would say just the great people that I've worked with, and the times I've had, and being able to push the engine to the absolute limits has also been a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Sneed posting? That's from Jonathan.
I don't have an opinion.
I still don't understand. If someone could email me what it is, I would really, really appreciate it. The Frontier is a great... Oh, this is from Atraxis? The Frontier is a great mod. Several devs did wonders to the Fallout New Vegas community, and watching it come together in a whole is a huge joy to behold. Thank you. Why did America have a note declaring herself to be 18? This is something you see in a very shady pornographic material. It takes away from the very good stuff like Stone Sword Tower. We've already commented on this earlier in the VOD. The VOD will be public tomorrow morning. Alright, moving on. Shamaran. How is the Enclave not being included a resource issue if you also never plan to include it from the beginning? Also emailed proof of sex slaves. Okay.
Because as we were sort of getting all of these questions relating to, oh, you're going to add an Enclave questline, we did have an internal discussion thinking, should we add some sort of Enclave questline just to sort of appease the people that want an Enclave questline?
Sure.
But as we discussed it, we realized we didn't really want to spend the time or people's energy making it when we knew it wouldn't really make a lot of difference in the end. And if people really want, the mod's there to use, and people can add Enclave stuff if they really want. But the Enclave and the Frontier are basically mindless zombies anyway. It's not exactly the more, trying to think of the word, involved faction that they were in Fallout 3 and the older games.
Okay. Here's a really good question that I probably should have let off with from Daniel. Has the pedophilic behavior been reported to the appropriate authorities? If the answer is no, the answer should be, yeah, we're going to do it.
Yeah, we will be reporting it, obviously.
Good. Yeah, you better.
Yeah.
Okay. Where I lost my place. Boop, boop, boop. Thank you, Todd. Why didn't the devs add more iconic? No. Sneed is a joke, but it's also a reference to Sneed's Feed and Seed shop in Frontier, which has a sketch quest line. Tom, what is Sneed's Feed and Seed shop? Let's go over it.
Is that the place it's called? I'm trying to find where that question is so I can actually... Sneed's Feed and Seed, which has a... I have to find this interior, hold on.
Also, Finn, you sent me some images. They are incredibly low res on my end. Could you give me a Dropbox link for the raw images, because they've been compressed to hell, and I can't actually read the text on them. But I appreciate you reaching out and trying to clear this up.
I cannot find a
Okay, can I just take a quick second to take a bathroom break?
Yeah, I need to as well.
Alright, we're gonna take a quick bathroom break. We'll be right back. Alright, I am back. Took a quick bathroom break there. We will wait for Thomas's return. Let's see. We have some good questions coming in here. Thank you everybody for tuning in and sticking around throughout this evening's episode of Letting Off Steam. I am Tyler McVicker, and I hope you are all staying safe.
All right.
And Tom is back. Okay. Tom, are you ready for the next question?
Yes.
All right, you seem quieter. Hold on. Hold up. Can you say something?
Hello.
Hi. Okay, from Philip. If someone were to make an Enclave quest line, would you guys be down to support them?
Potentially. Genuinely, potentially. It would just entirely depend on if the quest line would fit in with the pardon me, with the rest of the mods, and if it was good quality, yeah, sure, we'd probably implement it directly.
Okay. Can you turn your mic up on your end, because you sound very, very quiet.
I haven't changed it at all.
That's really weird. Does Tom sound quiet on the viewer's end? That might just be me. Okay. Alright, moving on. This one is from Gemini Angel. So what's up with the Unity ballistic models? Did you not have enough time
the
to make...
Basilic. Yeah.
What is this?
That is the model for the Trochley. That was added as a creature years and years and years ago. Why it was added, I don't know. Yeah, it was added as an extra creature, just to fill out the world space, I believe.
Let's talk a bit more about. It's called the Trochley.
Yeah.
For those unaware, because I'm sure not everybody has had the time to be able to play the Frontier in its entirety, who are they?
Trochley are a breed of FEV mutated, basically snake/lizard people that have gotten the ability to speak.
And you can have sex with one of them.
One of them, yes.
Okay. How is the team's morale after receiving so much flack over minor things? Well, pedophilia is not a minor thing, but how is the team morale?
It's really terrible, honestly. We're all at the point where we don't want to do this anymore. We've had enough.
Okay. That's pretty much the answer to that question. This mod seems to have a lot of very sudden tonal shifts between the main quest lines. What is the process of deciding the flow between quests and stories?
So that's probably the biggest issue we've had over the years with regards to story and sort of writing consistency. The main quests were all very separate from each other, especially the NCR. It ended up being a lot of... you even mentioned this in your video. There is a very, very serious tonal shift coming out of the NCR going into the general world exploration, which is a bit more lenient in terms of its tonal shifts. But you go from incredibly dark moments in the NCR to sort of ridiculous moments outside of it.
Yeah. From Leper? I know I am spending cash to say this, but you guys had one fucking job. Making a video game is not a singular job, man. There's a lot of different moving parts in that one. We're going to move on. Could you go on record how this one's from Kyle, excuse me. Could you go on record saying how stupid it is for people to rant about using free to distribute assets or Unity assets in a non-commercial project? No, because you just said it yourself. It's a non-commercial project and there are rules for that. And it's a very commonplace thing to do. I'm getting the perspective that people are looking for more things to complain about when it comes to the Frontier when there are legitimate things to complain about. For example, the pedophilia. And we should be focused on trying to fix that stuff instead of trying to drum up even more drama than what already exists. Because, I mean, we got to try and get this guy arrested for pedophilic behavior. Robble.
Yes.
When making a large-scale mod like this, were there set standards that the whole team must follow, or does each team member just kind of do their own thing?
So that was a pretty big issue in the first couple years where people would genuinely just work on whatever the hell they wanted, however they wanted. But over the last 3.5-ish years, we've started to sort of rein in the kind of content we've been making to make sure that stuff doesn't get added that's not needed, make sure that quests and stuff fit in with the lore of the mod as a whole. But yeah, there was some oversight with regards to that. But a lot of the writers sort of just work on their own, and then they're implemented, and then we just sort of watch them.
Okay. I'm seeing people say that this was a commercial project because you had a Patreon. I'm going to actually answer that for you. That's not how Patreon works. Patreon is a donation platform, and under most laws, most national laws, donations for creative work does not fall under that creative work then being seen as a commercial product. It's the same reason why something like CMU can get so much money from donations from Patreon and still be seen under a non-commercial license and exist legally. Moving on. Have you alerted the authorities on Zoo? We've already talked about that. I hope there is movements being done on the team as of speaking on that
Yes.
front. Okay.
Again, I've basically woken up and I'm in this interview now.
Sure.
So I haven't even had a chance to do it, but I will be reporting them. Yeah.
Another one. What is
If
your
I may
response?
quickly,
Yep.
sorry, if I may quickly speak on the Patreon thing, we actually donated all of the money that we raised from the Patreon to charities, specifically to Extra Life and Doctors Without Borders. So we had about $2,000 that we split amongst the two charities.
Okay. I've just been sent an image from Josh House. I'm not comfortable reading it out loud, but I will send it to you. Phobos said that.
That is a photoshopped image that's been sent around and is ridiculously uncomfortable for us to look at.
This isn't your. So you're on record saying that this is a photoshopped
It's
image.
photoshopped image, yes.
Okay, so according to the director of the Frontier, the Phobos Discord image with the quote starting with, quote, "I am fucking sick of all the bullshit criticism, ... You can read the rest. That, according to the developers, is a Photoshop. Moving on. Hey guys, you made an amazing mod overall. Taken as a whole, it has its faults. And if there's anything I can do to cheer you guys up, let me know." That is from Jonathan.
Thank you.
Okay. Simon Simons. Last question. According to his profile, Zoo joined the Frontier Discord server in 2016. How did he go unnoticed for 5 years?
He joined the server in 2016. However, he was not actively involved in the development until about 2017. And even then, we weren't doing background checks on people.
So you do admit there was no background checks being done on the team members?
Yeah, no, there wasn't.
Yeah, and now you have learned that this is a mistake.
Yeah.
That's a mistake that I've learned over the years. Yeah. Okay. Tom, you and the devs should do the right thing and just remove the minimal of this individual and keep the mod public. Don't waste the last 7 years, coward. Remove the minimal of this individual. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by the wording of that, but we've discussed that this person actually had quite a bit of work in the mod.
Yeah.
And so removing all of it is actually a much bigger task than you state. But
Yep.
You are working on removing it, though, right?
We'll be working on removing everything we can. We've already removed all of his self-inserts and everything related to him, including his development character.
From human, what precisely did Zoo do that is illegal? Why should he be arrested? Thought crime? Tom, you can take that one.
I will read the comments that we've gotten. I'll just read what I was sent with regards to Zoo. He essentially says he's moving to another site because for Affinity does not allow NSFW involving minors, so I'm forced to move to inkbunny.net. Not only does it allow NSFW with minors, but it also allows big images. Yeah.
So effectively, Zoo was drawing sexually explicit images involving minors, correct?
Yes.
That is not a thought crime.
No, that is a crime.
That is a crime. And this is not the place to discuss whether or not it shouldn't be. It's a fucking crime. Moving on. Searchinator. Who is Zoo? And what did he do? Was it real pedophilia or something? We just went over it, but thank you for the question. All right, so I'm mostly caught up with the community questions. I'm definitely caught up with the emails. The chat is just the same copy pasta over and over again, and I'm not even going to try and police that. So, Tom, I will say, you do need to remove this guy as much as possible from your mod. It's just, you just have to.
Yeah, it's not up for debate. We are going to be removing stuff.
However, I will say that it's a massive problem that is clouding an otherwise decent experience. So for the time being, I hope the team is focused on rectifying the situation with the pedophilia, as that's just fucking unacceptable across the board. And there's really nothing else that can be said. We have some more questions.
Yeah. People are posting a lot about the USS Liberty.
What is that? Go ahead.
I don't actually know. Apparently it's a memorial to... Oh, it's a memorial to... I think it's a memorial to... Oh, sorry. I'm not going to speak out without saying... without just at least looking what it is first. Mm-hmm. But apparently we removed it, but we didn't add it in the first place. So that is something I don't even know how to respond to because we didn't have it in the first place.
Okay, Finn, I got your Dropbox email. I'll be taking a look at this after the stream because it's requiring me to log in with my Dropbox account, and there are some security concerns there. Maybe just zip the images and send it as an email attachment. It's just there's some crazy what's the word? Compression going on with these images. We have more questions here, quite a few of them. I need to do them quickly or we'll lose them. Hi, TG Spy. I'm enjoying the mod so far, but I have a few questions about one of the NPCs. Can you tell me about Bane? Oh, okay. Could you elaborate on the inspiration behind the JQ questline, particularly the merchants?
JQ. I'm actually not sure.
Okay, we're going to move on. We got to be a lot here. After Hunt Down the Freeman was released, was it the dev team's goal to create a bigger joke, or was that coincidental?
I shouldn't even need to warrant that question with an answer.
All right, I'm just trying to read them all. Fallout 2, similar to the Frontier, was worked on piecemeal by 1 to 2 people for each area. Why do you think that one came out good while the Frontier didn't?
I would say that the Frontier did come out quite good.
Okay. My message wasn't read, but I'll just summarize it here again. You should be proud of your work. In my opinion, the mod is better than Fallout 3.
Well, thank you.
All right. Are there any thank you. Are there any plans to release the scripted content like Cars as standalone? Also, why is the Interceptor cut from the game?
So the Interceptor isn't cut. It's actually found in a garage. And we were planning on releasing the scripted Cars as a framework. However, right now, I'm not sure what the current status of that will be.
Okay. So, this has been a fairly productive stream, I feel. I hope
I'd say so.
that I have been able to ask the questions that the community wants asked. I'm going to be giving the 30-minute warning here. So remember, you can send me questions for free. You don't have to donate to ask these questions. I've only received like 15 emails. It's tylernewsnetwork@gmail.com. You can email me a question, and under most accounts, I will read the question directly to Tom here. And Tom, of course, is the director of Fallout: The Frontier. Tyler, it was severely disappointing that you didn't recognize the JQ message was an anti-Semitic joke. Oh, I apologize for not being able to identify that. We are dealing with some very problematic individuals in this chat right now, so I didn't mean anything anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic. I didn't mean any offense by reading that question out, and I apologize. But yeah, TylerNewsNetwork@gmail.com. I'm looking at my inbox right this very moment, and I'm sure I'm going to be sending a bunch of dumb shit, but I will ask any of the questions as I can as they come in. Why did the music stop? Oh, the music did stop. So Tom, I appreciate you taking the time talking to us here, and I appreciate everybody coming out and asking. I've played through all of Fallout New Vegas without crashing a single time. I'm literally unable to get through an hour of the Frontier without crashing about 4 times. Tom, your response.
It seems like there's a very, very sort of split between people who can run the mods for hours and hours and hours versus people who can't run the mod at all. I mean, you've played it, Tyler. You know that the ability is fine for the most part.
Well, I will say that I only had one crash over about 70 hours. That is truthful.
Yeah, so there is a bit of inconsistency with regards to what people can and can't run.
Here are the questions. We got a lot of coming in. Okay.
Oh boy.
Why did you use the New Vegas buggy engine instead of Fallout 4's?
Because New Vegas's engine is a lot more receptive to scripting stuff. The Fallout 4 engine is a very touchy engine when it comes to the scripting. So the stuff we did in the Frontier probably wouldn't actively be possible in the Fallout 4 engine. Fallout 4 engine also has...
Tom, I'm going to have to stop you there. I think the stream is being DDoSed.
I would not be surprised.
It's crashed. Yeah, let me try and reconnect. And we should be back. So we just had some technical difficulties with the connection here. I hope that you guys can see me. Please type Stromboli if you can hear me, and I'll know if we're live or not. I'm gonna wait for the Stromboli in the chat before I continue. Stromboli. Alright, there's the Stromboli. Okay, we're back, and we're going to continue asking these questions. Alright, your insistence that you don't see how certain aspect of this mod could be taken as problematic speaks to the ignorance and the lack of editorial oversight. Tom?
I do agree with it. I do agree with that. There was a lack of editorial oversight, and there was a lack of oversight for the whole sort of sort of writing component as a whole. And that's true because we don't have a serious development team with, tons of writing staff, with tons of high-level editors. We're just a couple of people making a mod in our free time. So there's definitely a few things that with proper oversight we could have caught ahead of time. The America stuff was especially something that we should have probably caught ahead of time. However, I will make the note that it went through a considerable amount of playtesting with regards to people actually seeing the content and seeing those choices. And there wasn't any issues brought up with them before release. So that's neither here nor there at this point.
The issue with the Frontier, this is from, for a one-time crappy meme no one will get. Quote, the issue with the Frontier isn't that sex is there, but how prevalent the sex is in the mod. Yes, there is in New Vegas. However, if I walk into a random building in the Mojave, I'm not always going to find a sexual encounter. But many of the locations I have come across in the NCR storyline, and just while exploring, has some form of sexual encounter, whether it be prostitutes or romancing a random NPC. It is this prevalence that calls other things like the Deathclaw and America things into question.
So I can speak on the perhaps the amount of sexual content and sexual encounters. I don't believe there's as many as people are making out to be, specifically because the ones that are being sort of brought up are within instances that make sense anyway. So there is two or three bars in the Frontier, and they have prostitutes in them because we don't have, the big casinos or anything, and it would make sense that prostitutes would hang out around a bar in a specific strip club. And we don't actually have... I could probably count on one hand the amount of people, the amount of sexual encounters. It's not that many.
Okay. I would like to comment on Marty Weiss is spamming the chat with Tyler McVicker was successfully bribed into reporting that the Team Fortress 2 invasion update scam that was being pulled by one of the creators was false. Spread the word. I will comment on that. Back in September of 2015, a community-driven update headed by two community contributors at the time named Bang and Ronan were taking over 50% of all earned income from that update in total over all other people working on the team, even though their actual work output on the update nowhere near came to 50%. I reported on that and was threatened with a lawsuit by lawyers representing both Bang and Ronan due to the fact that the numbers that were being reported on were illegally leaked. I pulled the report and was forced to push another report out under threat of lawsuit until others came in to describe the situation as being poorly done and false. I was 17 and could not afford any legal representation of my own, and it was a good learning situation for my own experience and my own judgment. So yes, that did actually happen, but not in the way that you're trying to make it sound. Anyways, moving on. If there was one thing you could do differently with the mod, what would it be?
Remove NCR Chapter 1 and rewrite the entire thing as a tutorial that lasts less than 45 minutes and then actually has the Wolfpack get captured rather than the player so that you don't have to end up playing through a Call of Duty sequence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the zip file. Let's see here. Oh, yep, I can read that now. Howdy, I'd like to say that I love this mod and it's my opinion one of the best pieces of Fallout fan media to date. I have to say it's absolutely hilarious that you've managed to summon the combined intellectual idiocy of V dumbasses over Ma Enclave. I'd like to ask what happened with the Slave Harbor content specifically. It looked fine in video reviews beforehand.
This is a good question. So we had to cut Slave Harbor and put it into a separate optional ESP because the content was, whilst in the videos it did look very flash and very professional, it had a lot of its own issues that we couldn't debug because the quest was so ridiculously spaghetti. In a sense, it was very difficult to figure out what was going on, and it was quite poorly made in that sense. And so we put it into an optional ESP where people could play it, sort of just, if they wanted to. But I believe in the attempt to turn it into an optional ESP, some things were broken that they shouldn't have been broken, which has sort of broken the quest as a whole. And that was on me specifically because I was the one that created that ESP. However, it's something I may look into in the future in fixing up and maybe just adding straight back into the mod because I know a lot of people were interested in playing it.
Okay. Next question. Okay. Why has C6 been removed or left the team?
He wasn't removed. A lot of the development staff are leaving the server due to the immense stress that we're all under at the moment.
Yeah, I'm seeing Phobos has just left the team.
Yeah. We've had quite a few people leave, which is
that's a shame.
Totally understandable, and I don't blame them for leaving.
Okay. Drawn porn isn't illegal in America. It's disgusting, but you can't report Zoo to the FBI and think anything will be done. Well, his actions are fucking awful, and we're gonna do whatever we can to report the fucking bastard, so not gonna have the drawn porn argument right now. Oh, did I list my Yahoo email in the description instead of my Gmail address? Whoops. Okay. Can you ask why there is such a heavy Lovers Lab community in the mod team?
There isn't.
Okay, well then where did it come from? Why are they saying this?
Because they see sexual content and immediately think Lovers Lab. However, I can assure you that Lovers Lab is not involved in the Frontier at all.
What is Lovers Lab?
Lovers Lab is a site that is very heavily focused on the adult content side of modding for the Bethesda games, and there is a lot of really sexual content on there.
Oh, okay. Y'all gonna remove the fetish shit now and maybe make your mod decent?
We've made changes that we think are appropriate, but we're saying the mod needs to be changed because it's bad is not feedback or criticism. It doesn't help us at all.
Okay. Huh. I'm going to ask this question. This was sent by Dylan. Dylan asks, why would you accuse the Enclave of being fascist? As a follow-up question, what is really so bad about fascism anyways? Tom, you have the floor.
Is this a question that I want to ask? Is this something I want to answer? Because as we've sort of seen what happens when you speak about political topics, you don't really get a great response to it. People are asking, will the mod be unhidden on Nexus? It will at some point, but we've got some work to do to remove content.
Okay. Fallout Entropy states, quote, "You muted my man," I'm not going to read his name because you guys have already tricked me a few times, "on Discord for calling you guys out for protecting a pedo. Your art lead deemed quote-unquote art materials with pedophilia in as, quote, only drawings."
I don't speak for individual team members. The team's response and the team's position on this is extremely crystal clear that it's beyond fucking degeneracy.
Okay. "Given the overall boohooing of fascists about there not being an Enclave plotline, do you regret not being meaner to them in the mod?"
I mean...
I think that question is bait.
Yeah, that's bait. No.
All right. "If possible, I'd like to remain anonymous when you read this email." Yeah, okay, that's fine. "When I saw the announcement, I was heartbroken. I've been waiting to play the Frontier for a new computer to be made." Okay, Frontier. While I'm hesitant to try booting it up with the available hotfixes on the Nexus because I've been excited about the mod, I wanted my experience of the world and interact with the Frontier because I love the setting. My main concerns are as follows. Obviously, the Steam release has been postponed, but for how long? Will you still recommend a new player who is a diehard Fallout fan while I have access? Would you still recommend a new player who's a diehard Fallout fan while I still have access to it? Would it be possible to straight outright remove the work done by Zoo the Skunk, even if it doesn't have textures for said items? Well, I mean, we've pretty much answered all of that at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Steam release is currently delayed not due to Steam. It's not some Valve issue. It's the installer currently has some issues where it's not properly setting some values that it should be in the ini files, so it's preventing the game from launching. And unfortunately, bad timing, the installer and launcher programmer had some real life stuff come up. So we're still waiting on that, but it will hopefully be sooner rather than later.
Okay. I want to throw you some more positives and say thank you for this mod. I've really been missing classic Fallout feeling, and you've delivered in many parts. That's from Jonathan.
I would just like to say that the positive responses we've gotten to the mod have really made a lot of our days, and it's been fantastic seeing that people have enjoyed the work that we've put in, have enjoyed the mod, because it's been a long time coming. It's been such an extraordinary amount of work for us, and to know that people are supporting us through everything really means a lot.
Another question here. Why do you think that fascists care what you sex freaks think of them?
That's bait.
Moving on. What was adding vehicles like? They were a bit shitty.
So vehicles were 9 months of sleepless, tireless work on behalf of the vehicle programmer. He literally nearly killed himself twice from overworking himself to get it out for mergers and for... yeah, it was an incredible amount of work at the end of the day. And we're incredibly proud of the work that he did, and incredibly proud of the vehicle system as a whole. It's pretty much as good as we can possibly get in this engine, unfortunately.
People focus on the few flaws and ignore the... This is Boon, B-O-O-N, sent this message. People focus on the few flaws and ignore all the cool stuff you've done. Though the size of the Deathclaw jugs were way too small.
Well, anyway, now that you've heard the human screams,
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for taking...
I think.
Can you ask the Frontier dev if they plan to change any of the edgelord cringe writing?
So we have already made changes to America's dialogue lines. We've removed a couple of the more egregious lines that people pointed out. But other than that, we're not removing or changing stuff for the sake of it.
Blacklight says, I'm going to pay you $5 to never make another mod again. That's $5, Tom. That's some good money.
Ooh,
$5.
I could retire on that.
$5. Just don't ever do another creative work in the Fallout modding community ever again. You're not
Oh,
allowed.
well, that's
You're not allowed here.
I don't even think I need the motivation at this point.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on people focusing on enslaving America but completely disregarding the scene where AJ is reduced to a sex slave? It feels like people are picking and choosing what to be outraged about. Also, thanks for the awesome mod. Your work is amazing.
I think people's outrage comes from the fact that she was under an age that people thought was appropriate for that kind of content.
And again, how old was she?
18.
She was 18.
We've said, yeah, she was 18. And we've sort of bumped her age up to 21 in a recent hotfix because her age isn't mentioned anywhere other than that singular note. So for a general audience, we've decided to sort of bump the age up a little bit.
All right. When is the Sex Out compatibility patch coming out? That's from Cole.
That will come out December 2077.
And what is Sex Out?
Oh boy. Somehow I'm gonna... How do you not know about this?
How do I not know about what Sex Out is?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just Google it. That's fine.
It's basically like an animated sex thing. For New Vegas.
Oh, lovers. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So no compatibility patch.
Compatibility patch.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Why does the first real NCR mission try and make us kill prisoner of wars when Blackthorn deserted partially because of bad orders?
That's mostly the point of the entire NCR main quest, yeah. The point is that Blackthorn is a massive hypocrite. And that he is doing things specifically for his own sort of self-righteous behavior. And also, the executing war criminals at the start of Chapter 1 was written a very, very long time ago. Back before we sort of had a huge grasp on what the overall story would be.
Okay. There's so many things in the mod that shouldn't have been there. What did you guys do for quality assurance, and how did these things make it into the game? How did you guys miss them? Also, the mod is great overall. These things just need addressing.
The reality is, with a mod this big, with a game this big, there's a lot of things that can be can be missed. Rather, we didn't have a very big development and QA team. Mm-hmm. Hell, most of the development QA was done by me and a few very specific people. So it's totally possible that we've mixed things, and it's why we've been so quick to upload fixes for content and hot fixes for everything, because we've realized that these exist, so we've fixed them.
Okay. I swear this is the most toxic chat I've ever seen. You're new to this place, aren't you? I sent an email with a message, but I might have been answered. There's a few things that are met in the mod, but overall it's fantastic work. Big thanks, you devs. It's from Blade.
Thank you.
Do the enemy vehicles use a different system than the player-controlled ones? It's from Jonathan.
Yes, they do. So the enemy vehicles use the original system that we were using for the vehicles. Unfortunately, the current vehicle system that we've got for drivable vehicles couldn't be changed over to the NPC vehicles because it's far too heavy for the engine to handle.
What do you mean
even
by
having
heavy?
So the way that our current system works is it's entirely run by scripts running under the cars, and we're doing a lot of stuff like literally ray tracing projectiles to the ground so that we can get accurate suspension. And unfortunately, having that kind of stuff is very, very heavy, and to do it for NPCs would be nearly impossible.
Okay. Next question. We've seen that one. We've seen that one. Seen that one. Yes. Oh, we're back. Okay, maybe we're back. All right. Again, type Stromboli if you can hear me. I don't know why we're having so many server problems, but we're back. We're still here. Waiting for the Stromboli. I'm sure we're going to go in and out a couple of more times, as this is a hot button issue. Why are people coming at this with fire and torches? Is there a reason people are destroying this mod over such small things? Also, I would wonder if you could shed some light on how much of the game are commercially available assets. And what would you say the most unique part of the mod is?
I don't truly know why. I don't truly know why we've gotten the kind of hate that we have. I believe a lot of it came from the fascist quotes we made in our live stream. That is absolutely correct. Yeah, that's definitely a reason there. What was the other part of the question?
How much of your game how much of the game is commercially available assets?
Quite a lot. We have been pretty open about the fact that we buy a good number of assets to fit into the mod, because we don't have a big modeling team, which meant that we couldn't make all of the assets ourselves. So we had no problem buying assets when it was necessary.
Another question.
And there's
There's
also a few assets that we were told were stolen assets. There was a Doom 3 Pentagon texture that was stolen. We've removed that. We removed that in one of the very early hotfixes, as it was added by, I believe, Devil's Wish years ago. And Fallout 3 assets as well were removed. There was some trenches that were being used that weren't in vanilla. We've entirely remade all of those, and we ask if people do find those kind of assets that you remove them, because we don't really need to have them there, and we're happy to replace them.
Okay. The problem with the America fiasco is that you made a point of showing a woman broken by sexual slavery and then have the courier actively engage in the same behavior to an emotionally unstable girl.
Yeah, that was the point of having the evil dialogue options, is that you could take advantage of her state and be a complete and utter evil piece of shit. That was the point.
Okay, Captain Bucket, just wanted to say I enjoyed my time on the Frontier and talking with the devs and the community members on the Discord. You're a legend, TG Spy, and I look forward to seeing what you do in the future. Much love.
Thank you. It means a lot.
Are the voice actors or artists that pulled their work significant? P.S. Love the mod. Please don't stop developing it after all the work you put into it.
A couple of the voice actors are unfortunately pretty important. We've only had 2 pull out so far, which is incredibly unfortunate. And the artists that pulled out their stuff wasn't too important, but any work that's been pulled out is important regardless.
Sure. There are rumors going around that the character America was based on a real-life person, the crush of the dev that made them. Is this true?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know who America was based on. That would be a question for Odin.
Why is playing as the Legion okay, but not the Sneed clave? The amount of cope is hilarious. Pee pee poo poo.
Okay. I don't even know how to respond to that.
Pee pee poo poo, though.
Beep, beep, boop, boop.
When did you realize the team needed better direction? Did you ever? Anything specific?
So it was a few years back, probably when I started. We didn't have a lot of sort of direction at all because the project lead at the time was very busy with his own real life work. Was very busy doing what he wanted to do, and so he wasn't spending enough time actually pushing the team in the right direction. So I started stepping up and making sure that things were being pushed in the correct direction. And so I became project lead after a few years, and sort of pushed the mod in the direction with regards to keeping content to a state where it should be, rather than, just random content added for the sake of it, which was a major issue back then.
Oh shit, Mandalore's here. What's up, man? Big fan. Mandalore Gaming said I legitimately thought the lizard screenshots were from a Lover's Lab thing or a joke. But this is way, way more than people were saying. I'm going to have nightmares about the skunk. Mandalore, love your stuff. Tell Joe I said hi. Maybe there are more reasons other than fascism why people are mad at you. Did you already forget that you hired a pedophile and put weirdo sex stuff into a Fallout mod? Go ahead, call this bait too.
There are perfectly valid reasons to be mad at us and to have criticism and to have real concerns, and that I totally agree with. As I've said already, we are in no way, shape, or form in any possible reason suggesting that Zoo the Skunk's actions were even close to anything other than reprehensible, because they are reprehensible, which is why we removed him overnight, actually within the last few hours while I was sleeping. There are valid reasons to be mad at the mod. Absolutely. But I believe we've addressed a lot of the issues that people have had, especially with regards to America's dialogue.
Okay. Why Portland of all places? As I respect the mod as a community project, they probably should have been vetting their volunteers. I completely agree. P.S. The email in the video description is wrong. Yes, I'm aware. I'm checking both email accounts right now. Why Portland of all places?
So Portland was just chosen because it hadn't been explored too much in the... it hasn't been explored too much in the Fallout canon, and the exact reason for why we chose it, I will not know. That was the... that was the... why we chose Portland is unknown, but we chose Portland, and that's what we've done.
Okay. Why did they choose Portland? I don't know. There's your answer.
Pretty much.
My question will be a guide of sorts. Will there ever be a guide of sorts detailing the mods, quests, ammo, armors, etc.?
So that's what we've been trying to do. That's what we've been trying to do with regards to a wiki, to get that going. Yeah. So I got a message from one of the level designers. For the reason we chose Portland, so we were looking for a town with a river in the middle of it.
Why?
Just because.
Okay.
Yeah.
They picked Portland because Portland has a river. Saying that's the point to the hypocrisy of America, AJ sends the message that to the topic of rape was purely used for shock value, and that it's just a fun, evil option for you to include. Sickening. That is from Dirty Blue.
It's not a fun option. It is an evil option. It was always written as an evil option. That's what it is. It was an evil option.
You allow being evil through AJ in America, yet you cut out the Enclave except for being the monster of the week level punching bag. Why?
Could you read that question again?
Yes. You allow being evil through AJ in America, yet you cut out the Enclave except for being the monster of the week level punching bag. Why?
We didn't cut out the Enclave. There was nothing to cut about the Enclave in the first part. Yeah.
Okay. So there was never any Enclave work being done ever.
No, there was never an Enclave quest line to begin with. Enclave only existed in the Frontier after Devil's Wish put them in the space station.
Okay. Here's one. Your mod takes place in the same stage as my mod. We were thinking of referencing yours. Any thoughts?
Feel free.
You have
People can use the front. Yeah, people can use whatever they want with regards to the Frontiers, sort of location, lore, whatever.
Okay. Here's an email from Dave. Thomas, did you ever expect to have to deal with so much shit like this? Spending years of your life making something for fans only to have them act like monkeys and scream at every little thing that is wrong. End quote. That is an email from Dave.
I, to an extent, expected that we would get some backlash for something. Probably what we explicitly... Sorry, I'm a little dazed at the moment.
Stop looking at the chat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, could you just repeat the question again? Sorry.
Yes. Thomas, this is a direct quote from Dave. Thomas, did you ever expect to have to deal with so much shit like this, spending years of your life making something, only to have fans act like monkeys and scream at every little thing that is wrong?
To an extent, yeah. But a lot of the concern that I thought would happen would be for things that sort of did happen, but also completely things that were completely outside of what I thought would happen. So I knew the NCR would get flack. Mm-hmm. That I did know. That I was totally aware was going to happen.
I was aware of that playing the game early.
Yeah. Which is why we've made so many balance changes to it over the last couple weeks and months. We thought the music would get a bit of flack. I thought the music would get flack. But yeah.
Why?
Just from how long I've spent on the mods, I thought, the music's kind of tearing into me now. I've kind of had enough. But it seems like people have enjoyed it. But I did not expect the level of hatred we've gotten.
For the music?
No, just in general.
Oh, I like the music quite a bit. Again from Jonathan, what made your team think of playable flashbacks with action? It works a lot better than the memory dead in Fallout 4, in my opinion, where you just watch.
So we added playable flashbacks because it was sort of just an easy way to explain ideas and explain sort of longer lore reasonings for the way characters act. And we thought, hey, we could do that in a way that Fallout doesn't usually do. And so we did it in flashbacks.
Okay. When will this mod return to the Nexus? Is there another link available to download the mod currently? And that is from Blackheart Omega.
We will, fingers crossed, we'll be able to put the mod back up. But as I said, we've got some work to do to clean some things up beforehand. I believe the official torrent is still on our announcements page. So if people want to download the mod, they can do that.
Here's an email. Greetings, I'm watching the interview at the moment. I think that despite all the backlash, the devs do not deserve being harassed in their own Discord, which they were just forced to lock down after it was raided by fans of TK Mantis through his Discord. Parentheses. They even sent invite links and are now in the VC there, and parentheses. 4chan is also in on this too. The Frontier is a hot topic on their board. Their actions are harassments and against Discord's terms of service. Can you at least make this known? Thank you for keeping us informed. Some of the raiders from TK's Discord are linked above, and they have been very vulgar, racist, and harassed the devs for no reason or have even played the mod. A question for the developers. Do you genuinely think all the efforts were worth it after the unwanted and unwarranted harassment being received that isn't in any way direct criticism of the mod's gameplay and story? Would you change anything? And I have some attachments of the stuff in... Okay, go ahead. That was a direct quote from a person that has a name I cannot pronounce because it's written in an alphabet that I can't read.
Cool. So there are plenty of things we would change, especially with relation to the NCR main quest. And was it worth it? I don't know. The hate and the vitriol has been detrimental to every single one of the team members' mental health. And we've got people leaving left, right, and center because A, they don't want to be involved with the controversy anymore because they're getting terrible messages, or they're just completely and utterly burnt out.
Okay. TK Mantis with the 5 quote, I had nothing to do with any raids on any Discords. It is against my server rules. I have no reason to be blamed for that. Okay, TK, that's fine. I'm just trying to read every message as it comes in within reason. We got another one. Can we just get the hotfix updates? I'm enjoying the game, but I can't play it without the quest breaking because of my 2-day-old patches.
That's very vague. We've fixed a lot of crashes in the last couple days, in the last few weeks. I'm sure something will have fixed the issues there.
Okay. Here's another one. With the mod, with the amount of time spent on the mod, did you not run into any lines through QA? Did you not run any lines through QA? I know some lines were jokes, but come on.
We ran everything through QA. And this is the point that I brought up earlier with regards to us not really sort of seeing the, seeing the drama that was America's line, because we ran it through. The list of people is, relatively extensive. Pretty much everyone on the team who does playtesting and who does the voice work and such did go through it. So there was QA, but perhaps maybe we needed outside eyes to look at them. Agree. Yeah.
With the amount... Oh, I just read that. Excuse me. Ghost Train scared the crap out of me. Was there any plans for more supernatural aspects in the Metro?
No, that was a once-off thing that Devil's added to sort of spice up the Metros. However, we were potentially considering expanding the Metros to sort of make it a bit more Fallout 3-esque in that sense. Because the Metros we have a few, but they definitely need some work more than anything.
Okay. From Human. Why is there an overly sexual side quest with the super mutant named Bane? Why is there a condom underneath Bane's bed?
Sorry, I'm actually looking for this.
You're looking for the condom underneath Bane's bed?
No, there's no one named Bane in our mod.
Oh, is this another bait to get me to say something bad? Or is that like from The Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah, there's no one. There's no one called Bane in our mod.
He wears the mask. Okay, I think the mod is amazing. This is from Preston Waters. Another settlement needs our help. I think the mod is amazing. You guys have definitely made what could have been the definitive Fallout mod better than anything Bethesda has made. The team just needs to do what they do, develop a fix, and you've got this.
Well, thank you.
Any thoughts on skipping Chapter 1 COD Rail Shooter, or able to skip the start NCR mission and start free roam and choose a faction later?
So this was brought up a bit earlier in the stream, but we were working on a quick start where you would effectively just travel straight to the frontier and you would be able to go and join the factions at whatever point you wanted rather than being railroaded into the NCR. We totally do agree with people's critiques of the NCR railroading you into the first chapter. And this alt start was the sort of the major thing that we had considered to try and alleviate that issue.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I mean, I play all Bethesda games with an alternative start mod anyways, you know, other than New Vegas, because you start in like a minute. All right, thank you for the interview. This is actually sent by the band Nickelback. Thank you very much, Nickelback. Thank you for the interview. I'm sorry, but it's too coincidental that Zoo managed to go that long with no one ever knowing what he did. When all of his profiles were public, as well as his announcement on the drawings. Along with the allegations of Phobos grooming, something tells me the roots run deeper than you're letting on. This is the first time I'm hearing about allegations against Phobos in relation to grooming.
First time I've heard it as well.
Okay. Is there anything you can say about that message?
I can't really, mostly because I don't even know what these allegations are trying to infer.
Yeah, Nickelback, if you could like send proof to those very you know, strong allegations, that'd be great. All right, moving on. Hiya. Not a question, but I want to say I think the mod is great and the team should be proud of their accomplishments. It's a pity about what happens, but they can't beat themselves up about it. Regards, Connor. Okay. Since you admitted that the team does not want to keep working on the mod, is it safe to assume it's not coming back either on Nexus or Steam?
We don't know what's going to happen for the time being. As I've said, we would like to try and remove all of Zoo's content that we can, because we don't want to be involved with him at all.
Okay.
As any sane person would. But it might take some time. And we're not sure 100% what we're going to do for the time being.
Lore-wise, this is from Mattis Master Race. Lore-wise, the NCR lost 100 men during the first Hoover Dam battle. It was noted a huge loss. How the hell did the NCR have the numbers for a rescue mission for a mailman, let alone a vertibird fleet?
So that is a pretty serious goof on our side. The first chapter is absolutely ridiculous in terms of that, with the sheer amount of people that were thrown to rescue the courier. And it's one of the reasons I would change chapter 1 entirely.
Okay. Hey Tyler and Frontier devs, I have been in Bethesda modding community for years. I really appreciate your work, and I think it's the best Bethesda mod right here next to Tamriel Rebuilt. You guys are modders, not just writers, and I appreciate that. There are some areas, some of which are being commonly criticized. Is there any possibility of some parts of the mod being updated in the future as far as things like dialogue that could use work?
We don't know what we'll do in the future at the moment. Aside, we've done the changes that we think are necessary right now. But what we do in the future is unsure.
Okay. There's a character in the mod named Chuck that wants to suck and fuck. Is this true?
Right.
Okay. That's the best bait today. Hello, I've been enjoying the mod. With the mod being in hold, so to speak, can we expect support for players that have already given the mod a download?
Um, well, look, we're doing what we can with regards to support, but we don't know what we're going to do with that at the moment.
Okay. I'm seeing someone reference the best New Vegas mod is the pregnancy mod. I didn't know there was a pregnancy mod. Tom, do you know much about this pregnancy mod?
That's a Lover's Lab mod.
You can get pregnant?
Yes.
Can you have birth? Can you give birth to a child that can then be like a companion?
That I don't know because I've never used it, but I know of its existence, and I know
Wouldn't it
that's
be cool to like? You have to like raise a child. You have to find food, and you gotta, make sure they don't get sick. And all right, I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry.
That's right.
What's the next step forward? Like, how do you plan on moving forward from this?
I don't know. The idea is to try and get the stuff with Zoo sorted out as quickly as humanly possible. But beyond that, just Steam, and I don't know what else we'd possibly do.
Okay, why do vehicle-based enemies keep running over glowing-based enemies?
That's just because the AI is ridiculously stupid. Not much we could do with that, unfortunately.
Hi, Tyler, enjoying the stream. Would you be able to ask Tom if all the Easter egg inserts, like the Metal Gear Solid and other vertebrates scene completely lifted from other games, Wolfenstein Day 1, did the dev team not think they were a bit cringy?
I'm sure they were, but they were there regardless.
Okay, hey, just to let you know, the Frontier wiki page has also been rated and mass changed. Also, by Interceptor, do you mean the Mad Max car?
Yes. Yeah, which we call the Road Rampager.
Why did you decide to add a horror element to the Frontier? That's actually from Todd Howard, so...
Yeah, that was Devil's Wish that decided adding a horror element would be a good idea.
Is that the Bioshock level that they're referring to?
I'm going to assume, and also Chapter 4.
Chapter 4 is the Bioshock level, isn't it? Or is that Chapter 2?
Chapter 3 is.
Chapter 3 is the space station.
Yes.
I'm talking about, like, that vault with the drugs.
Yeah, the vault, that's Chapter 4.
Yeah, that's the Bioshock section to me. Was the Enclave not developed due to political views? Quote, Enclave and Legion are Trump supporters being stated by the dev team didn't set well for me. Go ahead.
We've already covered this multiple times. I feel like we've covered it multiple times.
We're going to keep covering it until the stream's over. Go ahead. That's the point.
Yeah, the Enclave was not developed because A, we didn't have the team resources to actively do it, and B, we didn't really have a solid sort of foundation to actively do it in the first place. We didn't really have a proper reason to. Yeah, just the Enclave and the Frontier is effectively, as I've said, mindless zombies, but that's not a joke. They're literally mindless lobotomites.
Hey, Tom! I know this is really difficult. I know this is a really difficult time for you and the team. Now, while not without its flaws, I had a great time with the mod, particularly some of the side quests. Hopefully the team can stay positive and stay safe. That's from Sylvester.
Well, thank you.
People keep saying I'm going to cry during the stream. No, I'm going to cry after the stream. Duh. Tyler, what do you think of my cat? It's a cat. Love your content. I'm glad. Do you want to see the cat? Do you want me to send you the cat? I'll send you the cat. You can comment on the cat. Tell me when you see the cat. Tom?
Where's the cat? Yes.
DMs.
That's a good cat.
You like
I love
the
that cat.
I just
Love
rescued a cat. Really nice little cat named Norman. Did Zoo have a hand in the quest line? Oh, that's bait. Alright, never mind. Can we get Spy to comment on the FEV mutation introduced in this mod that makes human players... Is this true or is this bait? Is there an FEV mutation bit in the mod?
No.
Okay. sending this twice, once as an embed and again as an attachment. He said he's only known him for 3 years, but the Discord join date says otherwise. Talking about Zoo the Skunk, who, according to this image, joined on November 7th, 2016 at 10:30 p.m.
Yeah, as I've already explained, Zoo did join that time, but he wasn't brought into the team until around 2017.
Okay.
It's the same with quite a few of our team members who joined the server and were eventually brought onto the team months or years after they joined.
Okay. I wish to remain anonymous. That's fine. Why was the mod not looked over prior to release to find this content? Any competent dev team would lock in content and begin proper testing and stuff. If this did happen, why did the Lizard and Deathclaw sex alongside of America's Slave content be allowed to enter the final build? Thank you.
That's the reality with a small team. Is after you've had to play things again and again and again and again and again, you sort of get you get blinded to the stuff.
Another question, quote, you didn't answer my question, only a small part. Legion and Enclave are Trump supporters. Why was that dev not immediately reprimanded?
That was a joke made on the stream. Said dev was reprimanded.
Who was it?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yep.
So why is the mod being closed down because of one creep? Why does it matter if one of many people who worked on it was a weirdo? Well, the person who worked on it wasn't just a weirdo, he's a pedophile. And the actions being taken are almost required when dealing with a pedophile. Anything to add, Tom?
Zoo is a pedophile, and that's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. If he's going to be making that kind of content, making those kind of comments, it's pedophilic. And we don't support, and we do not, and we just don't get involved with those kind of people at all.
Okay. From Mr. Manny, the pedophile has been handled as best as you can. Not true. They're working on it, though. How do we stop the toxicity and destruction of some peeps are intent to raid and destroy the community, even from members of other mod development teams are using this incident as a jumping-off point? Because the raid toxicity and destruction are unjust. This will surely hurt the integrity of the future of all Fallout modding.
I'm sure Fallout modding will be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure this won't have a very long impact other than on the frontier. What makes a mod like this take 7 years, where other mods of a similar size have taken fewer to release?
The reality is most of the development time has been in the last 3 years. The first couple years of development were very, very slow. And it's only since 2017-ish that we have sort of started to really put the pedal to the metal, so to speak.
Okay. Also, what mods are you talking about that have a similar size to the Frontier? Like, all criticism aside, Frontier is huge. New California isn't even close. Is there another mod that's similar in size?
Not that I'm aware of. New Cali doesn't really compare to us in terms of size because New Cali is a lot smaller.
New Cali is just the main quest for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, it took them 3 years. The majority of the time was not really doing much of anything. From David. Hey, I just wanted to say I really appreciate the work that the team has done, and I really hope that everyone is okay. The community's behavior is disgustingly inappropriate, but the truth is you guys have made beautiful work.
Well, thank you. It means a lot.
What's with the free vertebrate rides I keep getting offered?
Bait.
Okay. Why do you think... Okay, all caps, by the way. This is from Josh. Why do you think that the Enclave are Trump supporters? If Trump was in charge of the Enclave, they would have won!
Bait? I don't have a response to that.
Okay. Here we go. Moving on. I get why people would be upset about the alleged child pornography, but I'm not understanding why it's seem out for blood. Seems like way more negative attention than it should actually warrant. Are Are they all trolls? It's a stellar mod with some jank. I don't know why they're just attacking all aspects of it for no reason. That's from Michael E. It's not alleged child porn. It's legitimate minored pornography. And that's atrocious. The response to that is warranted, and I would argue needed. However, the follow-up question we can kind of relate to everything else that has occurred. America, lizard sex, deathclaw sex, condom in truck condom, that kind of stuff. Why are they responding the way they have? I don't know. Tom, why have they responded the way they have? What's your opinion on that?
I can't speak for what the internet does and why the internet thinks the way they do. I do believe that the criticisms and the sort of hatred and vitriol that we've gotten is not justified. We're just a small team of people doing this in our free time at the end of the day. And we really thought we were putting out something that people would really love. And it hurts to see that people have so much, vitriol towards us.
From Perfect, I have a feeling that there was a massive disconnect between the team lead writers and other developers. How closely was the work tracked and reviewed?
There wasn't a massive disconnect. The reality is we're all pretty on the same page, with the notable exception of Devils, who effectively worked on his own schedule, on his own sort of way. But there wasn't a massive disconnect between the writers and developers. Okay. I mean, we had 10 people in the core team with like 15 max developers total. It was a very small team.
It's surprisingly small given the size of the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
From Hero, what is your response to the criticism that the NCR quest line was derivative? Do you feel like the story could have been tighter?
Yes. I believe of all the criticisms that are fair, the NCR criticism is the one that I actually fully agree with. And in fact, quite a significant portion of the team agrees with the fact that the NCR needed major changes. Unfortunately, said major changes were not going to be something that could be done in a week or a few months from release. It would have been months and months and months of work to rewrite everything from scratch as I wanted to.
Okay. Why did you ship it then?
We wanted to ship it because we'd already suggested that we would ship in December, and we couldn't make that deadline for a number of different reasons. But we wanted to ship the game because a lot of us had sort of had enough. We wanted to get the mod out because we've been working on it so long that we don't really want to be working on it any longer, so to speak.
Sure. Okay. From Michael, or maybe Michelle, are you guys going to take a break for a while and come back to the mod instead of just leaving it?
I can't speak for the entire development team, but my current plan is to push the Steam release, push as many physical fixes as I possibly can, and then I'm leaving permanently.
I want to send this comment in support of the development team. Is from Jaden. Their mod is not only the best, but the people seem to forget that this is a Fallout game when it comes down to most of it, with only the zoo situation being worth kicking up anything about. Agreed. So my question to the developers are, how many people outraged about this does he think have actually played a Fallout game before and done anything but a completely good, righteous character? Tom.
As we've sort of spoken about already, there is a lot of content in the mod harkens back to the original Fallout. So Fallout 3, Paradise Falls is a thing, and people tend to forget that exists. Fallout 2, Fallout 1, a lot of the topics that are broached in the Frontier are not topics that are somehow new, but they are, they're still there.
Here, the maintainer of Viva New Vegas here. Oh, dude, hey, great, love your website. Love the Frontier mod. Mostly XNVSE code behind it. Has the limits of the Fallout New Vegas engine been reached, or is there more potential to be explored? Would Fallout 4 New Vegas be a game changer?
This is a really good question, and hey, Dark Shadow. So I would suggest that the New Vegas engine has basically reached the peak of what's physically possible in it. I think the biggest constraints that are currently holding back the New Vegas engine from being anything more than it currently is the fact that the renderer is so clearly early 2000s tech, where it wasn't designed to function for more than a very simple set of, characters and NPCs in a very small location. And so a mod as big as the Frontier is already pushing the engine to the absolute potential limits. And yeah, there is a few things behind the scenes that we're getting worked on with the NVSC developers to do some incredible things that I can't speak about yet. We just recently, Cormacore, the developer of XNVSC, recently released Hot Reload, which allows you to reload scripts in real time, which is a huge thing for for developers and scripters in general. But I believe the limits of the New Vegas engine in terms of size have been reached with the Frontier. I don't think it can physically get much bigger.
Okay. Do you think the vocal minority actually helps to promote the mod despite their negativity?
Well, they say any publicity is good publicity, but in this case, there is a lot of negative. There's a lot of negativity. So, yeah.
After years and years of work, I'm so sorry you guys had to go through all this. I love the mod, and the situation makes me sick. That's from Pearson.
It's rough. It's rough, but thank you genuinely for everyone that's supporting us. It means a lot.
All right, from Simon Simons. Sorry, now last question. If the QA team is so small, how come they were able to locate, isolate, and remove all of Zoo's large amount of content?
So you're misconstruing what I've said. We know what Zoo's content was. The content that has been currently removed is his self-insert, his development room character, and the associated perks and snippets of stuff that come with that. The icons and the armor work is something that we'll be working on removing. Most likely the icons is what will have to be removed at the moment. But no, there's no conspiracy there. The QA team is, well, right now it's me, and that's it.
Okay, I'm gonna end it here. It's been about 3 hours. We've asked hundreds of questions. I appreciate everybody that's been listening to us, asking questions. I hope that I was able to provide a platform to allow your questions to be heard by the director of Fallout: The Frontier. Tom, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for sitting down with me this evening and talking about your game. Anyways, I'm Tyler McVicker. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys stay safe and have a good evening. I'll talk to y'all later. Adios.